we are lucky to have with us George from Altaraya, who has been, instrumental in being.
Jennifer, your audio is dropping in and out. You either need a headset or to get closer to the mic, but your voice is only coming in every other sentence.
Offer is strongly related with us partnering with Microsoft, and you will actually start the journey on your mind. Invite Maureen to kindly present her insights into the Microsoft world and the offering.
Hello, everyone. How are you? Happy to be with you today. I do not see the slides. If you can present the slides, that would be fantastic. Are you seeing the slides? Hello?
Hi, Maureen. No, I think you'll have to share your screen. I'm not able to.
Actually, Jennifer has the slides in the full deck.
Okay.
So the one that was showing has actually my introduction. So happy to be with you today. I am the Business Applications and Power Platform Business Group Manager. So that includes the full D365 suite, as well as the full Power Platform, Power Apps, and Power Automate, as well as Power Virtual Agents, the new one. Really, my role is around business strategy and go-to-market for business applications, specifically in the UAE. And I work with partners like Synergy very closely to ensure that we're both working together to provide the very best service for you. And very happy to be with you today. Jennifer, can you share the slides you were sharing, please? I had seen my slides in there. So I would like to make this interactive, right? So if you have any questions, please put them in the chat window. I will try and answer them during my presentation. In case I cannot get to any questions, we will definitely come back to you with any answers. But the point is to have a conversation. So if there is any, perspectives or viewpoints that you might have, please do not be shy. Okay, it's a forum for us to really engage with you, right? So am I able to move the slides along? I am ready for the next slide.
Jennifer,
I know the
Jennifer,
suspense
nobody
is
can hear
building
you.
now.
Your voice is not coming through. Please press
Can
the
you hear
next
me?
slide. You're clear with me, Maureen. Let me find out what's going on.
If you want, I can just share my screen if it's easier. I have the presentation here.
Yeah, that's okay. Can you make yourself the presenter and start sharing?
You'd like me to share my screen, right? It's not giving me the option. I think somebody must make me a presenter. The start sharing button is grayed out. Apologies, team. We will be correcting this any minute now. The suspense is building, I'm sure. There we go. Okay. So I do see the start sharing button. And now hopefully you will see my slides. Do let me know if you can see them. Can you see my first slide?
Yes, Maureen, you can see your slides, yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, so let's get started. I do not have to spend a lot of time on the business and IT challenges during COVID, but I can tell you that this pandemic has rapidly and really in a big way impacted how we do business, right? So instantaneously, we needed to work remotely. So if you had paper processes, if you had approvals that needed to be done with signatures, if you could not manage this remote environment with the technology that you have, you really, really felt the impact. And this is not going away anytime soon. So in case there's any future lockdowns, you'll have office closures. You have things like limited agility. So if you are on an on-premise system today, you're actually at a disadvantage in many ways, not only for remote work, but the ability to be agile, to change processes on the fly, to take advantage of low-code tools, right, that we will discuss in a minute, and to be able to respond to this changing environment and allow your employees to maintain their productivity no matter where they are working. And lastly, the new business models. So if you did not have a model that allows your customers to interact with you in various channels, if you did not have a system that enabled you to answer all of the questions around COVID from your employees or your customers or your partners, then you are in a massive disadvantage. These new business models extend to being able to have a field service team, for example, or going to your customer's site rather than them coming to you. And these new business models have really disrupted the way that we do business across all industries. So now it's almost, I don't want to say an emergency situation, but it's almost an incredibly urgent situation that if you haven't already, you need to adapt how you work to this new environment in order to be able to compete, in order to be able to actually find growth in your business in uncertain times. Now, I'm just going to spend 1 minute reminding you of the total cost of ownership of on-premise offerings. Today, almost every single customer we speak to as Microsoft and partner, they are interested in cloud. This was not the case maybe a few years back. They were asking for both on-premise and cloud proposals or solutions. Today, they know they need to go to cloud. It's only a matter of time, right? So you really must create an ROI, a return on investment, that really looks at all of the on-premise costs on the right-hand side, right? Which are many. And look at the cloud cost of ownership, right? And we help our customers do this on a daily basis because it's incredibly important from a business perspective that you understand when you transition how much cost you're saving, how much more agile you will be, and how much more productive your business will be with real-time insights, leveraging things like AI and machine learning to improve your processes, make your business run faster, and better serve your customers and partners. Now, just a note on those of you that are on AX previous versions around the extended support and when they will end. So all of these things are very important in terms of, look, I mean, everybody wants a solution that has that type of support from Microsoft. And this is something that you need to keep in mind. We're in a data world. Today, it's all about what are you doing with your data? And for us, that means being able to leverage data from anywhere in your organization to improve your sales, your marketing, your service, right? So that means all the data must be connected, giving you insights in terms of how to improve your products, what your customers are saying about your products, and everything must flow right back into changing your processes or your products or your services based on the data that you're getting externally. Today, most organizations have data siloed, right? They might have their data in their ERP solution like AX or NAV. You might have solutions that are sitting in a different CRM, in a different procurement system, in a different HR system, and so on and so forth. And all of these systems are not talking together. They're not showing you a holistic view of who I am as Maureen, as your customer, for example. If I engage in a marketing campaign, do you know that I also visited your store? Do you know that I also complained on your customer service department? Do you know that I've been on your social media? Do you have a unified view of who I am based on my transactions, my behaviors, and observational data? Even if I've connected to your Wi-Fi in one of your branches. All of these things need to be connected into one single view, regardless of where the data sits. And this is something that is not a nice to have anymore. This is a must have. This is critical for you to continue to grow in your organization and not become stagnant. Now, I really want to touch upon our Power Platform. Many of you all may be familiar with Power BI, which is part of the Power Platform. It's the visualization, the very strong dashboards and visualization views that can pull data from multiple data sources, right? So many of you are probably already leveraging Power BI. But today, the full Power Platform underpins everything that we do in the cloud. So Power Apps as a low-code tool is being seen today in the UAE as one of the #1 asks from customers. Either they have layoffs and they don't have enough developers, or they have legacy applications that are expensive to maintain, and they need a low-code tool to be able to respond to immediate needs. Like, for example, the city of Kobe in Japan, they had so many COVID requests for subsidies. In 2 weeks, they built a chatbot on Power Virtual Agent, which is our low-code chatbot, to answer all of the questions. They got more than 250,000 a day citizens that landed on their Power Portal, which is the external facing app, if you will. And they leverage Power Automate for all of the triggers and workflows and approvals needed that really powers all of this in terms of triggers and actions, right? So this is the full, what we call Power Platform. Something you must know. When you have an enterprise Dynamics 365 license, it includes Power Apps capability within that license, right? So the $40 SKU for Power Apps, which is unlimited building of apps, is part of the enterprise finance and operations license. So essentially, you're getting this Power Apps functionality as an extension of your finance and operations within that license. So it's an extremely powerful tool that differentiates us given the 350 pre-built connectors. This is what differentiates us from others. These connectors continuously increase. Every time I do this presentation, it was 250, 275, now it's 350 pre-built. So it makes it very, very easy for you to connect to multiple data sources, whether it be on Power Apps, Power Automate, and build business processes connecting to that data in a low code or no code environment. Things like AI Builder is another differentiator. This is inbuilt AI within our Power App. So again, the finance and operations license allows you to have the unlimited building of Power Apps based on that tenant. And in that, you have the AI Builder. For example, you can take a picture of a credit card. Sorry, not a credit card. Hopefully it's not a credit card, a business card, and upload all of that information by just detecting the text, right? You can have object detection, right? So it can detect if there's an anomaly in a picture when you're doing some type of a maintenance or security check, for example. And this is all built in, again, enabling you to be agile. It's all built on the Common Data Service, which is the same platform that Dynamics 365, Azure, and your productivity suite on Microsoft 365 sits. So imagine one common data service connecting to any data source, whether Microsoft or non-Microsoft, right? And underpinning that is this very powerful platform called Power Platform that enables you to create workflows on the fly, chatbots on the fly, applications for your entire organization, enterprise-wide if necessary, visualizing it all on Power BI, right? And at the same time, it's powered by Azure. So you have all the enterprise level security and compliance that you do not have to worry about. Now, the main question that I get, is this in the data center in UAE? As you know, we have a data center in UAE, we have a data center in Dubai. I'm happy to say that we do have core services of Dynamics 365 in the local UAE data center. When I say core services, I say Dynamics 365, finance and supply chain. We have Dynamics 365 sales, customer service, field service, Power Apps, Power BI, Power Automate. Now, today it's through whitelisting process. So that means there's a case-by-case approval that needs to go through myself for specific regulated industries. So we do have customers who request to be in the data center, we approve them, and then they are able to deploy. In the next coming months, very soon, in the next coming weeks, you will hear an announcement that in the next coming months, we will have this whitelisting process removed, and it will be general availability for customers who require these core services. So stay tuned within the next coming weeks. You will get an announcement, and it will be very soon that anybody can access it without the approval process. Now, we always look at what the analysts are saying, and just to keep you updated, if you look at these 6 quadrants, you can see that we are leaders in customer engagement, in Salesforce automation. In BI, I mean, we're nearly alone, right? As in terms of completeness of vision and ability to execute, right? Leader in field service management. Leader in low code, which is the Power Apps platform. And then we are visionary in the cloud ERP for products and enterprises, right? And we do have the highest customer, positive customer responses of all of the vendors in this cloud ERP quadrant. What has kept us slightly from becoming a leader, if you will see, is because of there are some partners that are not what they would call have the ability to execute in the strategy that Microsoft has. So we anticipate that this will change. But what I would say is as long as you pick the correct partner, then there will be no issue in executing the vision. And I believe today, working with Synergy, you will see that they are experts in this field, have been here, I don't know, for one of the first partners in UAE on Dynamics 365 from, I don't know, the first version or something. And they have maintained a huge number of references. So you can feel comfortable with their ability to execute on the Microsoft vision. In the top corner, it just mentions in security. This is not the topic today, but we are leaders in all of these quadrants around security. So imagine how much reassurance you can get knowing that the analysts really put us in a very top category when it comes to security. I just mentioned also Forrester here for low code has us as a leader, and just a quick look at the momentum, because it's important to see not only what the analysts are saying, but what is the uptake of the solution. So 90% of Fortune 500 using Power Apps, right? 5 million active users per month. We have a number of Power Platform user groups that you can join, learn best practices, get templates, right? You can find finance and operations templates leveraging Power Platform extension, for example, to really extend the solution in case there are any functional gaps that you may see. And again, that is included in the offering. You see the number of transactional data every single day, active developers, and the huge growth we're seeing on Power Apps. You see huge names. If you even just go and have a look at Power Apps or Power Platform customer references, Honeywell, Virgin Atlantic, Chevron, ADNOC in the UAE is a reference for us. They're now creating a center of excellence. So it's basically an app factory for their 50,000 employees on Power Apps. And so you can understand how much it can scale if necessary. Let's hear what the media is saying, right? So around Dynamics 365 and Power Platform in the last few quarters of FY20, we've kind of summarized what they're saying. And you can see things like the huge 5-year deal we won with Coca-Cola, right? You can see what they're talking about, Teams, Azure integration, you know, things like our huge market now, market capitalization, and how, you know, Walgreens partners with Microsoft. And then if you look at the Power Platform, it says, you know, Power Platform is for real developers too, right? Developers, new tools to build on Teams, because if you don't know, Power Apps can be built right within Teams as your hub. So you can really increase the productivity to see all your apps within Teams and be able to leverage them and take actions right within that hub. Okay, now just a couple of offers and then I'll close. We do have an offer for NavGP customers. You just need to be aware that we are offering you, if you're before your BREP renewal and you're active on BREP, right before that, you can choose the monthly CSP without moving anything in terms of your environment. This is until end of June. So any NavGP customers that have a BREP renewal coming up before June, you may want to consider this. It changes your spending from annually to monthly, and it's the same output, so it's the same cost, but it allows you to annualize it, pay monthly, and you can renew it up to 3 years, right? So if you have a plan to go to cloud, but maybe not today, at least start paying the subscription, increasing your cash flow, which is incredibly important today. And at the same time, start working with the partner on the migration plan. It can happen 6 months from now. It can happen a year from now. It can happen even 2 years from now. But at least start taking advantage of this offer. And a very important and last topic until I wrap up and pass it on is the Dynamics Migration Program. So this is something that customers have been asking for. Many of you have said, can we have Microsoft help us in terms of what do we need to migrate, right? We have customization. We don't understand the costs. So what we do today is for any AX or CRM customer, you can nominate yourself or a partner or Microsoft can nominate you online, right? So you can go directly to the landing page. I have the link here and sign up. And you will get a call from somebody from Microsoft. And that person will understand your situation and will route you to the right resource to be able to take you through this assessment. It doesn't cost anything for you. You get dedicated advisors, right? They assign resources, as I mentioned. You do some virtual workshops and webinars. They collect information from you, right? And at the end of that, they will provide you a functional technical review, how to handle customization, upgrade approach, summary recommendations, and even some industry benchmarks, right? Financial impact for your specific situations in terms of moving to cloud. Now, it is highly recommended that you involve your implementation partner if you have one. So if you decide that Synergy is the partner that you would want to work with through this journey, please let the Microsoft team know once they call you, and they will include Synergy and sometimes even the account team, if necessary, from the very beginning of the process. So Synergy will be working with Microsoft, and then at the end of the assessment, it will be a seamless engagement to your cloud journey. So thank you so much. If there's any questions, happy to take them. Otherwise, thank you for having me. Good luck on your cloud journey.
Thank you, Maureen. I really appreciate your inputs into this journey of digital transformation. And hopefully this morning we will add more insights as we go along.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. So the next topic that we go into is how do we transform and how do we do a digital transformation within our organizations and the world around. Okay, digital transformation is not a one-step process, but it's it's really a journey that you go across. And if we look at what are the traits that you need in order to go to, it's not moving. What are the traits you need in an organization to really transform? It's been identified across many research groups. There are about 23 odd traits, and it's not a single trait. And it's a transformation of people within that. It's the agility, it's the mindset, it's the management, it's the ongoing process, the fluidity in which you can morph into different products, into different skills, into different environments and geographies. And it's important that it's not only one, but several traits that need to come together and gel in order for you to go into a digital transformation. And that's why it's called the DNA of digital, for you to adopt this. The next point I'd like to make is the most important one of all in a digital transformation is the way you partner with your customers and the way you bring value to those customers. And that's where digital transformation, the more you are into a collaborative mode with your customers and with the environment and what constitutes around it, it's important. And if you look at the graph at the bottom, people who are in the old brick and mortar is literally dying out. And it's new people you've never heard of are the people who are on the SP 500. The lifespan of companies have changed drastically. Before you heard of 100-year-old companies who are in existence. Today they're disappearing. And you're having people who are very new on the block who have come into this play. And that's important to know, that it's the digital transformation that is making companies exist or die. Okay. The next point I'd like to make is the figures itself will tell you, especially today, that if you don't transform, you will not be in a digital economy. And it's 25% of the world today are in the digital transformation. And that's why it's important. Okay. There are 2 points I'd like to make on this slide. One is the medical world today, especially with COVID, has brought all the pharmaceutical and the healthcare into the digital transformation. And that's why vaccines, which would have taken 3 to 5 years to mature and be tested, have been fast-tracked with AI and the likes of it to be brought into fruition within a couple of months. The second thing that is very important, which you will see, there are over 50 billion devices connected today. And as my next point there says, everything is an app. So the smart Dubai government has so many apps. So now they've started to consolidate apps. So you have an app which has many apps within it. Okay, so what is it really telling you? It's telling you that you need a platform for everything. And finally, for that platform, data is king. So they are literally scanning, analyzing data that is within that app and into the back end. So what do we see? We see that you can't be digital on the outside if you're not digital within the organization. And ERP is one of those steps. Okay, you don't only need to record systems because of statutory requirement. You have to use whatever you recorded as data and convert it into intelligence. So it's important that you're not only OT for transactions, but you literally into how do you process those transactions. Two important points that come to the front is what's the quality of your data, and do you have a single point of truth? And if you are into manual processes, that is one of the downfalls of which you will not be into a digital transformation quickly. So let me take you into what are the 5 steps that we think are important in your journey towards a digital transformation. Okay. We start with understanding that this is not an end. It's a journey you start, and there will be no end in sight. It's something that you will constantly walking. There is no end to that road. Okay. But we've summarized it into basically 5 basic steps for your transformation. First, you have to be clear what you're trying to achieve. Okay. And then once you're clear in your mind and there's a crystallization of those thoughts, it's important to start that journey. What do you want to accomplish? Okay. The next aspect is to humanize that process. And in order to humanize that process, as I mentioned previously, there has to be a digital DNA. So those 23 traits that we talked about has to be there within the organization. That is the transformation. You cannot put systems in if you don't have people with the right attitude, with the right spirit, with the right, intent to make it happen. Because it's not only systems you put it, it's the people who use it and make it a success. So you need to actually balance out the tools you use with the culture of people within that organization to make it happen. The next point I'd like to make is what are the different business models you're going to be adopting? Previously, people thought if you were on social media, you would be, king. But that's not the only one. It's important to be with big data on the cloud, using AI, using VR, and so forth, because those are the trends that are changing organizations and bringing them to the forefront. The next important thing is how do you take decisions? Is it a feel in the air, or it's your gut feel, or are you really looking at your data insights to help you differentiate and tell you what the trends are happening. And the last and not the least is how you collaborate. You collaborate with your suppliers, you collaborate with your customers. Is this in real time? Can you do business anywhere, any time on any device? And that is the way we are happening today. So basically, you work where your business takes you, and it can be on any device, in any geography, in any kind of environment. And that's what is important. I take you now to a small saying about Darwinism. People in the old days, people who wait are not the people who are going to succeed. And that's what digital transformation is talking about. It's really the democratization of access to data and the ability to create new business models. And this is being well said by Ray Wang. Okay, let's move on into finding out how do we take an adaptive process and make it into our organizations. I will bring forward a slide which will talk about what are the constraints right now in the systems. Basically, we are strained by our current IT systems because it cannot keep up with our growth. They're very disjointed, and that's 50% of our organizations. So they struggle to meet the process and the integration. The next 50% are people who struggle with reporting. And the reporting and the reports that are too complicated for people to understand or to give them insights into. They're basically something telling them of what has happened in the past rather than giving them insights into the future. And the last 50% are organizations whose hardware is already outdated or their software needs improvement, but they don't have the time and the energy to do it in one go. So the landscape that we are faced with today, in order to have that adaptive process, is the ability for you to have machine learning, integrated financial systems that give you insights into your management, and also the ability for you to adopt apps as they're deployed on the cloud. And the acceleration, like Maureen mentioned this morning, with Power Apps and Power BI is unimaginable. And that is something I think every one of you needs to look at, in order for you to govern and adapt your companies into. So how do you want to transform your business using D365 finance and operations? And I will have stolen one of the slides from Maureen. And basically, I'm going to reiterate it. Core to that transformation is data and AI. And built around it is the 4 pillars that come in. And that is how you transform your products, how do you optimize your operations, how do you empower your employees to better productivity, and how closely do you engage with customers. And core to that is your data and AI. And built around that is the whole world of D365, which allows you to look at sales, human resources, finance, operations, the Power Platform, which allows you to enable commerce, service, and marketing. Okay. So I take you then on to the journey with what we call a comprehensive solution. So it will address every aspect of your business. Whether you choose to use different modules is a case that you may want to investigate. In the past, on Dynamics AX or on some of the other platforms like NAV and GP, you had a suite of modules. Today, you can choose which modules you want to go with and how do you want to deploy them. And more importantly, what the system allows you is the ability to integrate to payroll that is a very niche to these markets, specific, industry specific, like utility billing or banking. These are the aspects that you can integrate it seamlessly, because today a lot of partners have built ISV solutions that are actually endorsed by Microsoft and allow you to actually leverage the different requirements of your business with the help of D365 Finance and Operations. And the way they do it is through the common data model and service. And that's important for you to know. So what is the other steps in the digital transformation? As I said, the more engaged you are with your customers, the better insights you have, the better social media, you know what they're saying about you, and you know what they want. They may not tell you directly, but today's modern generation tend to use social media to air their opinions and things like that. So you need integrated processes to know what's happening both within the organization and outside in order to better self-service your customers. In a similar manner, you need the integration with your employees. So you must give them the productivity tools that they need to get better productivity. You use Power Automate and RPA, which is the robotic process automation. And we've seen a lot of that in recent times where organizations have downsized most of the repetitive processes in order to get better productivity. The next thing is the citizen developers. And there will come a day when every one of you, just like 15 years ago, nobody believed everyone will have a mobile phone. Today, every one of you will have a robo attached to you. And that robo is a software robo who will automate the mundane processes that are time consuming and repetitive and leave you to actually exercise your intelligence into areas that are real time, that are predictive, and where you use your intelligence. I next come to, what is the digital transformation within the cloud? A lot of you have doubts in the cloud, and one of them is the security and the scalability. With Microsoft's 3 times failover, you couldn't be more secure than on your own organization's machines. Because if you get attacked by a ransomware or something of that nature, it will take you at least a week to get back. If Microsoft gets attacked, there will be a couple of hours and you'll be up and running. Because of the 3-way failover, your security is enhanced multiple times. The next thing the cloud allows you to do is you're going to be agile. You're constantly going to get updates and there's continuous improvements to your software. And the reason you have that, because the whole thing is based on a service-oriented architecture. And that helps you to transform your products and services into digital content. So let's understand the benefits of this. And the benefits are many. Now, how do you get those benefits? You get them through the different modules that are available within D365. Whether you're going to be finance and operations or you're going to be specialized, add-ons, all of those anyway would form to some of these modules that are in there. In addition, you have quality, you have retail, you have HR, you've got payroll, and all the power apps that offer through the Office or Microsoft 365 integration, which is really a very powerful Office tool that allows you so much of intelligence that, it's mind-boggling when you really look what they have to offer. So in other words, you can work anywhere, anytime. You can bring in new power processes. You can increase your productivity through Power Automate and RPA. You have instant access to information, and that is analytical in nature. We're giving you powerful insights of what you want to do. And you can detect problems much ahead of its time because it's predictive in nature. So in other words, it puts control in your hands. But at the same time, the system is simple to approach and the learning about it is relatively simple because all of you have used Office and Office-related tools. Your learning path is very low. There's a quick adoption. It's quite intuitive. So your training time is reduced immensely. Okay. You then have other business operations that you want to optimize with. Some of them are processes, some of them are minute tasks, but more importantly, instead of centralizing, sometimes you want to distribute that management. You want to distribute it through reports, through predictive financial analysis. And one of them built into your application is the Power Automate and the Power Platform. So it's important that you know that you have BI out of the box, but there is also other insights that we will show later in this presentation, how we have leveraged at Power BI to give you better control. We have organizations today who only work in Power BI at the management level and have not gone down at ever transactional reporting level. The Power Apps and Power Automate allows them to get control in terms of workflows across applications. It allows them to do that anywhere on their mobile phones or through virtual agents. And the common data layer that is built into this Power Platform allows you to integrate several other applications out so you have a single point of truth. And that's where the data connectors come into place. And lastly, built into the Azure platform and the Power Platform is an AI builder. In the old days, we used OCR and ICR to extract data from documents. Today, AI is a content extractor. It's going to extract data and put it back into your database using AI. And there are several tools within the Microsoft stack that will allow you and enable you. It's important you know this because all of us are deluged with thousands, if not millions, of documents. And we spend about 50 to 75% sometimes of our time trying to search for data that is sitting in documents rather than into our systems. So it's important that you know that you have a tool that will enable you. Okay, the next advantage that you have is the unmatched flexibility that you have. And that flexibility goes across multiple areas. The first important point that Maureen had mentioned, and I repeat, is the low code or no code. You don't need a programmer to allow you to automate. It is very easy to drag and drop and allow you to use those. So the user experiences and the process automation is very, very easy and simple. It's only when you want a very high level of complexity that you would come to somebody outside of your organization with the expertise that we have to, but that's less than 10 to 15% of your requirements. The rest of it is in your hands. You have the tools to do it. Okay. The next thing that I would like to bring up is the Power Platform and how does it help you? Besides, the M365 is the new modern version for Office 365, which is your workplace. Linked into it is Teams, it's Azure, the common platform across everything that has been used in Microsoft today, and your D365. And this allows you to bridge across all of these seamlessly. So in other words, you can be on any device, you can have different roles with their productivity, and you have an integration across all the apps that Microsoft has to offer. Okay, I repeat again, you can run your business anywhere. You can do role-based workspaces, so people with different roles can quickly harness what they need to do and get data that they need to work with very quickly. The whole of the application is embedded into the Office 365. Okay. And more importantly, it's all linked into machine learning and AI today. So you don't have to go out and purchase extra tools. It's all embedded in. It's only a question of how to use it and when to use it. So let's then move on into how do you centralize or decentralize reporting, and how is the embedded reporting and financial analytics come into play. And this is part of the Power Platform. So built into D365 is an intelligence that can actually give you a decision support system that will give you insights. It will predict for you that you need to do this now. Talk to this customer. They haven't paid you for so long. They will give you interactive dashboards where you can drill down at a short time. And finally, you still have your good old reports for the people at the operations so they can still see, and it's not too drastically different from where they are. Okay, so these are the examples of prediction. You're running out of cash flow, there's late payments, who are the target people? Or what is the Microsoft intelligence into the dashboards and how can I drill down and drill through to see what are the problem areas? Or how do I get my old reporting, which I'm so used to, but still with a new face and cover? And all of that is under an modernized technology. And within that modernized technology, Microsoft has embedded a set of tools that keep your application all the time secure, but at the same time evergreen. So if I had to put this into a simple slide, is you will never have to upgrade again because you're constantly getting upgrades. So you will have an application that is on forever. That you will never transit from one upgrade to the next. The second point is that you have very low code, no code experience for using tools of productivity. But more importantly, you have the ability through a cartridge or SOA architecture to be able to plug in any kind of extensions from hundreds of developers across the world, where you may have ISVs that are absolutely essential to your business, and you don't have to develop that module anymore. it's a plug and play virtually. Okay, so it basically supports a whole raft of things. No longer do you need to go out and build a module or build a new ISV, because it's there. And if you tell people today, you need something, that extension gets delivered in a matter of weeks or months rather than years. Previously, when you asked if you were on SAP or you were on any other system like Oracle or any of those, if you asked your authors of your software, they would tell you that it would take at least 6 to 9 months, or it'll be in the next release, or it'll be, and that would be 2 years away or 3 years away before you saw that enhancement. Today, with extensions, once you put it into your LCS, which is the lifecycle services, sometimes it's delivered in a matter of weeks or in the next update. That's the speed at which it's moving today. So what I put this out into a single slide. So basically, you have an ecosystem, not only with your partner, but with any other ISV who can give you products that you need. You can increase your productivity through D365 and Office. You have the Power Platform that will give you all the tools that you need. You have data integration and knowledge platform there, and all of that sits on an Azure cloud. And all of that is facilitated today with your BI and your reporting, which I will not repeat, but you are not doing away with the report you have, you're only enhancing it with more devices and more accessibility. It's a very important aspect, security. A lot of people have apprehensions on the cloud, and it's important to know that the security levels that is enforced by Microsoft is literally world-class. You cannot, or you will take a lot of resources and power to enable that same level of security that's available today on Azure and in the cloud. And with that, I will go forward in what should be your journey in this transformation. So I quickly bring up the 3 different things that come to mind. People who said we're going to go into a digital transformation thinks that if you go paperless, that you have transformed. That's only the start. The next, what people think is they will go digital by having more efficient processes, new channels, putting a new ERP, putting in CRM. Yeah, that is one of a small step in the right direction. But the real digital transformation is your ability to collaborate, put in different business models, bring in different kinds of e-commerce and personalization, and address new markets, because you have a scalable platform that is totally powerful in whatever you think you want to do. It has the resources for you to do. So how do you start on this journey? Everything you want to do in life is a journey. And you have to plan, how do you go about that journey? You have to plan, what is the start point? What do you want to achieve? Where do you want to end up? And that's no different in your digital transformation process. And in order to do that, Microsoft has given you a tool. It's called the Lifecycle Services, which is built into D365. And it allows you to put out blueprints. And the blueprints could be for process architecture, for application, for data, for intelligence, for security, you name it, it has it all. And that architecture is a key to your successful plan. So you need to start early. Even if you plan to move 2 years from now, you still need to start and think what you plan to do. And you need to plan it together with your colleagues. It's not a person in an ivory tower planning. It is, you need the whole organization to be one with you. You have to be thorough, but you should be able to communicate those plans across. And you have to put into practice what the expectations you set. Because without that, you will not be able to achieve. You cannot do this in isolation. And this whole aspect is now supported in life cycle services. I can't put out enough of what the life cycle services encompasses, but it has enough of tools to help you on that journey, whether it's scoping, it's analysis, it's requirements, it's analysis, it's alerting you to where you want to go, it's into testing. All of that is embedded inside the life cycle services. And that is then portrayed into a project plan. And that project plan have milestones. Those milestones could be small or large, but they're still the milestones you will follow. And it's essential that you adhere to it. You cut corners and you will pay dearly. So this has put a lot of thought process in the life cycle services so that you can ensure that you go through that journey with the least amount of risks. And supporting that life cycle services are really two things: the roles and responsibilities within your company and with your partner. And your partner is Synergy and Microsoft together. So I have just listed out quickly what the roles and requirements would be for yourself versus what would be from the partner and Microsoft together. So if I had to put something into a concise manner, its key is testing, validation. How are you going to cut over? How are you going to get your data and quality of data into production? And how do you plan the go live? And that's key. And each of those points are something all of you who have implemented systems will understand are key to making it a success. So in other words, the life cycle services, or LCS in short, keeps all of these things that I've spoken about embedded inside of it. You cannot run D365 F&O without life cycle services. And if you think you're going to cut corners, you literally are going to miss out on being effective in how you deploy the solution. So I will reiterate, the project plan is really your blueprint to success. Now, if I have to put it simply, it looks easy, doesn't it? But you need a helping hand. And we're there to give you that helping hand. Okay? So with it, I will tell you why Synergy at the end. And at this point of time, I'm going to invite George to tell us a little bit about his experience. To tell us about his experience, and what's his name? Stephen will help him in elaborating what we have done there. Okay, so give me a minute to hand over to Stephen and to George. Right.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning, George. We'll just wait for Jennifer to bring up your slides.
Let me introduce you to George Kazeni, who has been our partner in this journey. He started with this journey in 2017. And I won't steal his thunder. I will just hand it over to him so he will be able to elaborate why he started this journey, what he was trying to achieve, and then Stephen will tell you how we did it. So I'm going to, hand over to George.
Have to be the presenter to show the slide.
Okay, over to you, George.
Good morning, everybody. So from what I've heard over the past 1 hour or so, we've actually implemented. We've actually done it. So in theory, it sounds wonderful. Practically, it was the hardest thing that I've ever done in my life. To put that into context, so we're a Thuraya group. We run multiple companies all across the real estate sector, be it development, construction, facility management, sales of properties, leasing of properties, and so forth. As the company grew, I got the Microsoft CRM 2013 to cover most of my part, and then I faced the issue of having islands of data, of having multiple companies not talking to each other, of not taking the right decisions at the right time, of not being ahead of my competitors in terms of data insights, in terms of market trends, in terms of analysis. So that's where we partnered up with Synergy, and we gave them the ridiculous task of bringing our company to the 21st century. It was honestly, it was the hardest thing that I've ever done. So basically, getting 4 companies onto a single platform, organizing the data, presenting the data, and leading this transformation across the company simultaneously. Changing business models, changing processes. It was monumental. I'm gonna maybe Stephen's gonna elaborate more on how it was done and the challenges we faced, and the pain, the tears, the yelling, the smiles, all of this. Stephen will walk you through it. I'll just give you the end result. It's 2.5 years in the making. So as of now, based on, from I'm going to talk to you as an executive or as a company owner or whatnot. Power BI has given me exactly what I needed, and it makes me as a company so much more dynamic. I can respond quicker. I can forecast better. I can control better. It changed my company. It increased its value, and it has made me a much better executive. In the following slides, Stephen will walk you through everything. He'll explain to you all the different modules that we've implemented, be it project accounting, HR, sales, leasing, procurement, accounting, finance, etc., etc. He'll walk you through all of this. But Synergy have been our partner for the last 2.5 years, 3 years even. They've seen it all with us, the ups and downs, the pains, the frustrations, the crying, the joys, and I couldn't be happier with them. We've done this together. They deserve as much credit as we do. And I'll hand over now to Stephen to walk you through on how we've achieved our goal.
Thank you, George. It's been an interesting journey. Good morning, everybody. My name is Stephen Jones. I'm a director at Synergy Software. I was instrumental with Jennifer in introducing the Dynamics AX, or Acceptor as it was at that time, on version 2.5 in 2003. So it's been a journey for us as well with this solution. And we've seen it go through multiple iterations. So Altwire is a very interesting case study because they are not a typical ERP manufacturing company. They are in a real estate sector, so your typical ERP software doesn't really handle things like buildings. It handles things like customers and inventory, but when it comes to things like landlords and which floor am I in and which building am I in, those are data fields you don't find. So we have quite a lot of experience in this vertical, and we obviously have some experience with Dynamics. So, that obviously gave us a base. So that's sort of where we started. We have been in this market since 1991. We've been in Dynamics for, getting on for 20 years. And we've been into delivering financial solutions and projects, obviously, throughout. So, that was an initial reason why we were selected. And it wasn't just about knowing the one product, but the across process, because we are partners with Microsoft, both for CRM and for the Dynamics ERP. We have a long experience of implementing HR and payroll and time and attendance, and in the construction industry where you have a lot of staff, you're looking at detailed time and expense to project. Then the integration of time and attendance and payroll is a very important aspect of that. And for them, the metrics and the KPIs are critical to how they run their business. And again, we have been specializing in Power BI now for about 4 years. And we're able to show what it could do for the organization. And I think the other thing which is also important is there's a temptation to assume that partners will take any project that they can, but it's not like that. We know what we can do, we know what we can't. We have to feel the product is right for you, and we have to feel that we can work with you and you can work with us. And I think that fit was very important. So let's have a think about some of the aspects of this project. But there is a supply chain module of Dynamics, very comprehensive. It involves automated warehousing with mobility. It involves advanced MRP, many things like that. A lot of those were less important for Altwire because they're not the manufacturing side is less important to their business. Inventory tends to get consumed straight to projects, so they don't have extensive need for warehousing. But what they do have is a lot of purchasing. And when you're trying to do all of that by project in spreadsheets, it gets very painful. How do you expedite? How do you make sure things come in on time? How do you make sure you're buying the right amount? How do you do the approvals of what's going to be bought when there's a huge amount of money involved in that? Putting workflows across Excel spreadsheets is not exactly an easy thing to do. So quite often you get down to problems of compliance. There is a risk of fraud. It's difficult to control your cash and your forecasts. Difficult to get any real-time insights on what your commitments and expenditure is, and difficult to get your projects done on time and on budget. And those were some of the challenges that Altwire was facing because it had disjointed systems. It had an old version of CRM, so a process would start in one system and end up in another. Data had to be transformed between. The technology for coding and interfacing back, in the older version of CRM is nothing like it is today. There was no common data model at those days, and so on. So, that created a number of challenges which having an integrated system was able to resolve. Next slide, Jennifer. Hello, next slide, please. So there we go. But while we're talking supply chain, let me just say that for those of you who are into manufacturing, then you have a fantastic MRP system. Now it's been enhanced with things like predictive forecasting, the mobility side of the warehouse. We now have IoT integrated into supply chain as an option, and so on. So here you're seeing some of the Power BI reports that we've developed for purchasing. I've had to redact some of the data, obviously, because it's sensitive, but you can get some idea of what's there. This is just the front-end dashboards, and you can drill down behind all of these, of course. The different metrics are linked together. There are filters. This is just the pretty front face of Power BI, but behind it is a lot of analytical power. You can share the data back to Excel. You have Excel type analysis within inside the software itself. These are just some very simple examples of what we can do. Okay, next slide, please. And I should say for Alto, they make extensive use of Power BI for everything. I mentioned in construction there were a lot of staff. There is a reasonable amount of turnover of staff, even if you're only down at like 1%. I mean, you've got 2,000 or 3,000 employees. That's several a week. You have to deal with visas and passports and renewals and so on. You all know the labor laws in Dubai. It's very easy to get fined for forgetting to renew something. You not only have to deal with the employees, you have to deal with their spouses and the children's visas and national ID cards and passport renewals and so on. So a solution that can streamline that with the workflow processes, just a simple thing like I need to open up a bank account, I need a letter from the HR department. If you've got a couple of employees every week asking for that, then it helps if you can automate that process of generating that letter, for example. Calculating the payroll through the WPS and getting it out on time through the banks, back again, paying people on time, accurately including all their expenses, their bonuses, and so on, is quite a challenge for the company. So we have built a GCC Payroll, which is available in AX12 and in D365. It works across the GCC. And these are some of the Power BI metrics now that come out of that solution. And it's also integrated into their time and attendance system. Some examples of the insights you can get. I should explain, I'm speaking from UK, so we have some latency going. There's another example of, you can see on the top, we can put in some built-in filters, so we can slice and dice the data straight from the dashboard. And as I say, you can drill from here back to the source data as well. And you can see that you can prettify the screens with some graphics and all sorts of things. And we can integrate this out to Microsoft Teams and all the rest of it. So let's move on to the benefits of the company. This is a real estate company, so sales and leasing is quite important for them. Now let's think about that process. Somebody has to move into a property, which means they have to look at it. You have to think, are they going to buy it or are they going to rent it? Could be 10 people trying to bid for the same property. We have to take them on. We have to make sure that they take some references. We have to take some deposits. They're not even a customer yet. So there's a whole load of processes. We have to check the place has been vacated, that it's clean, that the new people come in. There's a lot of industry-specific requirements which are not typically taken care of by an ERP system, but that's the benefit of the platform. It is very easy to build vertical solutions within it. And these are some of the things that are needed in just for property sales alone. So we and Alturai together have to understand their business processes, to define the data that's needed and the process, and how we automate those processes and make it a seamless integration into finance, so we don't have a lot of manual work in one system to get it into another system. So all of these were topics that we had to deal with. And we have done similar type of exercises in utility billing, where again, you have buildings, you have rental, you have monthly charges, and so on. And so the foundation framework you get with Dynamics allows you to do almost anything you need to do. So different types of leasing. We looked at sales. Similarly with leasing, we have to think about how we market it. We get sales as a CRM aspect. There are different type ways of leasing through different commercial channels. We have to quote, we have to reserve, we have to search, is the property empty? We have to generate contracts automatically. They can be bilingual and so on with all the terms and conditions. There is a lot of very specialist things, all of which bring together the Office 365 tools, from email and SMSing through to generating template documents in Word, to how we calculate in detail the specific invoice for the month, which might include things like maintenance or ad hoc requirements that the customer comes up with. So it's a very interesting challenge for any ERP system. Very pleased to say that Dynamics was a good fit for them. Obviously, the company had started with Dynamics with CRM, but to bring it all together, integrated through to the finance end-to-end was, I think, a significant achievement for Alturai. And here's some example of the type of forms and reports that we have developed for them. Very specific, built on AX. And because we are effectively able to recycle the objects in Dynamics and to extend them before and afterwards, this sort of development is much easier than trying to develop in a vacuum. With just standard coding, we are able to leverage the library of objects that Dynamics has, and it's always been a key strength of the original Acceptor, was that it might not have had the 30 or 40 years of head start that SAP and Oracle had, but it was a lot easier to develop and customize the way you wanted, and to reuse objects and forms and so on. And when you do that, it's coming with the built-in security, with the built-in integrations to Office 365, and so on. So it has some major advantages. Now in D365, the coding is different. It's much, X++ has become a true managed language. The approach previously for most ERPs was to have a set of objects which you could copy, and you could modify the copy and put it in a different layer. And that was great if you only had one company and you were just developing for yourself. But if you wanted to upgrade, it then became a problem because Microsoft didn't know about your code in your layers. It was very difficult to merge those layers. So upgrades became very painful, and people only upgraded when they had to, and that was maybe every 5 or 10 years, which meant they weren't very agile. Since we've been with Alturai, Microsoft has gone from version 7 when we first started to version 8, about 6 or 7 versions of version 8. Then he jumped to version 10 to standardize with CRM the version numbers, and that brought in a unified interface, which was a complete difference. The whole concept of layered code went, and we came into extensions. And we've now had several major upgrades on version 10 as well. And all of those have gone through, on basically monthly updates. We've just gone through a major set of new functionality come through in October. we're not having to shut the system down. We're not having to put another project in. This is the advantage of extensions. It's a different paradigm, and there is some work to convert your layered code into extensions. But once you've done it, the process thereafter of maintaining and patching and upgrading and adding new functionality is what makes that journey of transformation worthwhile. And you can see the sort of things we've been able to do for a very specialized vertical. And once we've done it, we can use the same Power BI tools on our own tables as we get out of the box with the standard reports that Microsoft provides for finance and so on. We're also able to use those tools to analyze the vertical specific requirements, as you can see here. So these are built in Power BI off tables that are inside Dynamics, so we can see, which buildings have got how many properties, are they available, are they under offer, is there rent due, and so on. Have we printed the contracts yet? Very, very powerful. If you are somebody dealing with a customer who's walked in and he wants to know, when can I have it? Have you got a flat available, and so on. Just to imagine trying to do this on paper systems or in your head. Just a huge amount of information at everybody's fingertips. And the beauty is, as Jennifer mentioned, it's a single source of truth for everybody. So the whole company is working in a joined up way. You haven't got one person, thinking that property is available and another one thinks it isn't. Now, whatever business you're in, at the back of it is finance. Everything flows through into finance. And Dynamics has always had a strong dimensional accounting system. When it went to AX12, the dimensional framework was overhauled and considerably strengthened in many different ways in terms of how many dimensions you can have, linking the dimension directly to the underlying masters so they auto-populated. Just a massive improvement, particularly now from a reporting point of view. The Power BI on top of financial dimensions, we have a huge thing. We still have Management Reporter. These are some reports from Management Reporter. So you still have that tool available. It's now called Financial Reporter, but we can also get that out. It's again designed to be a user tool. So having put in D365, Altoan now has information at their fingertips. It's got a 360-degree view of their properties, of their customers. They have a complete history of their communication. They have slice and dice data with Power BI and dashboards available, literally real time, all of the time. And you can see some of the areas for which we have built dashboards for them. So this has been literally transformative for the company. And we're still on that journey. We are, looking at doing more and more with them. But I'm just giving you some examples of what we've done. Power BI came up as a question earlier. Well, you can see its power now as we go through. So these are some of the comments from the users. It's always nice to get user feedback. And better you hear it from the customer than from me. And I think the key word on here is partnership. You have to be partners to make this work. It isn't a there's the plans, you get on and implement it and then come back and tell us about it. The workload is 50-50 between the partner and the customer. We can build, you have to test, so on. It's very good. So I've rattled through quite a bit because we do have quite a tight time limit. I'm just going to touch a little bit more now on Power BI. So I will hand over now to Sundar. And Sundar has been our lead consultant in this area, really since Power BI first came on the scene. And he can give you a little bit of insight. So I will hand over now.
Thank you, Stephen. Thank you, Stephen. Good afternoon, everyone. Actually, just not to waste the time, I will directly get into the, because we are running out of time. Synergy has been always. You have not. Are you able to hear, right? Sorry, we were just checking the audio. So basically, data. The data can be a game changer for your business, irrespective of any industry, provided you are getting the transformed data to insights at the right time and in the way you need it. So where synergy plays a role is mainly on that. What we are specialized is we are separating this data layer from the ERP system. Why we are separating? In fact, Microsoft is providing the BI dashboards within D365. So what is the point in having a data layer? Basically, the reports and the dashboards are always more personal. The second thing, it is all industry specific requirements, because the retail industry may not have the same report which the aviation industry may look at or the education industry may look at. So the challenges and the insights that are required to act upon are completely different. So we came up with the idea of plug and play data models across various modules. These are all module specific data models. These data models, I would say these are all hybrid data models, both descriptive as well as analytical data models, so that it is future proof. So in the future, if you want to leverage the power of Azure ML, so being a analytical data model, you will be able to pass on the data to predict the future. So all these modular data models are built with functional consultants who have worked with various industries for more than 20 years. So how it helps? The recommendations. What should I do? The decision support system. Basically, if you see, even the Microsoft AI-powered key influencers will clearly tell you what the business head has to do to increase their revenue, or what is exactly influencing the revenue to go down. So those kind of insights, without being a business analyst drilling down to entire records, the system automatically gives you, it presents you that insights. So immediately the person can have the information handy to take the strategic calls. Predictions. Based on the actual data and the pace of sales as well as the purchase and whatever the transactions that are happening, you can easily predict what comes next. And also Synergy has done some of the solutions where based on the forecast, based on the forecast, it will alert the management team that on so and so date, this material is going to get shortage. This sales is going to go minus contribution. So all these proactive measures are automatically alerted to the management team. If you see the modular approach, why we have kept it is all flexible, scalable, and also it is robust. Across the various modules, when I say what are all the modules we have addressed, HR and payroll. Microsoft offers the payroll which is completely US centric. So Synergy has the Middle East centric payroll which is customized on top of Microsoft D365. And we have also done some enhancements on HR experience based on D365 F&O HR. Then the procurement. The procurement analytics, if you really see, you can see the same item where purchased from multiple vendors, how the prices have gone up and down over a period of time. And also what is the landed cost movement. Inventory, it also gives you the turnover ratios. Sales across the project sales as well as the product sales. Accounts receivable, payable, general ledger, P&L, fixed assets, all the subledgers, automatically you can drill down to GL2 subledgers. Then what is our primary focus? When we are building the data model, what we had in mind was complete self-service and mobile-first user experience. So on timely manner, the users are empowered with the right information to act on and to take strategic decisions. On a daily basis, the business alerts are automatically sent to the business users. So they are not really waiting for somebody to provide them the information. So we are trying to be more proactive. Data security and governance, we are very particular about the securities. So the relevant data reaches the right people on time. Some of the key developments and deployments, what we have done for various industries, we will just go through. On finance, if you see, we are talking about accounts receivable. Here we are talking about aging. We are showing the aging across various dimensions. And when we are seeing the dimensions, you can navigate to that particular dimensions where, like this, for this business unit, the outstanding is 13 million, and you just hover over it. By aging, you will be able to see instantly. And you can also see how many customers across how many invoices this 13 million is constituting. Also, customer-wise, a detailed aging bucket you will be able to see instantly. And if you want to be particular about currencies, immediately you will be able to have a handle on it. Cash flow on the late payment. Based on the futuristic date, you will be able to predict your cash flow and when exactly you are getting into trouble and how fast you can act on it. All those you will be able to predict well in advance. And we have also focused on the productivity, as I mentioned. So wherever you are having the customer AR statements, here what the user is supposed to do is just review the customer balance, verify the invoice breakup, and just with one click, automatically the customer statement is mailed to the customer. So irrespective, instead of going to logging into the system, getting into the legal entity, processing the report and sending the email, we are just trying to cut short this into one click. Similarly, with respect to GL, the CFOs and the finance department, they will be able to analyze the monthly and quarterly and annual trend on their revenue, expense, and profit instantly. Which quarter is making more profit, and they can just hover over the mouse and they will be able to instantly get a handle of it. Even though Mr. Steve mentioned that there is a management reporter, which is extensively giving you the P&L and balance sheet, it's a Microsoft tool, but still Synergy's data model also helps customers to automatically get into the P&L reporting by various periods. And the finance department can also analyze this actual and versus budget variance analytics. And even though this approach is all modular, the management dashboards, if you see, that is not modular, that is integrated, where the information coming across various modules are collaborated together into one management dashboard. This is more detailed manner instead of at the top level. If the user wants to, that is why Synergy's data model always helps the management level as well as the end user level of information what they want to analyze. So here in a detailed manner at the account level, they want to see the variance between budget and actual. And on sales, the general manager sales will have a mobile enabled view on a daily basis what's happening. Particularly the key metrics like new customers, how much sales has been generated with the new customers, everything are all instantly available on mobile. And also the head of sales, or they want to communicate to the sales heads or sales managers. If you really see from the Power BI, the CEO can directly respond or directly communicate to the respective sales heads, whether to appreciate or question their numbers or why they are not meeting their budgets. Instantly with one click, they can directly send an email that immediately the mail interface will open, and with their email ID, they have to just type in, and this data, whatever is data is available in Power BI, will automatically flow from Power BI into the email. So they don't need to type it again. So these are all the productivity that enables the user to act fast, instantly, to get the actionable insights. Similarly, the top 10 customers, top 10 items, as well as category-wise sales across various periods, dashboards and reports. And some of the users are interested to see the dashboards on a graphical, and some of the users might be interested. So that is why the data layer is kept standard, and the visuals will keep changing based on the industry specific challenges and the user specific preferences. So here we are seeing the same sales trend over a period in a graphical manner. So the advantage here is across various dimensions. It's not only financial dimensions, it's also item specific dimensions or customer specific dimensions across various periods. Instantly, the business will be able to see how their gross margin is trending across various periods. and what about their costs, whether it is coming down or going up, instantly they will have a handle on it. Then always at the board level, they want to review the performance of the business by periodic review. So how we have performed compared to last year, how we have performed compared to previous quarter to this year, how we have performed with respect to the budget. So here our data model also supports in the other advantage of our data model, which I want to mention is, if the client has not installed or implemented the budget module, they will have it on Excel, and the sales data comes from D365. Now with our model, you can together club the Excel data of budget and actual data from ERP and analyze. With the Microsoft standard model, what happens? It is limiting the users only to use the standard data model that is available coming directly from ERP. External data sources are not possible to integrate for your BI solutions with that embedded solution. And here the users were able to see the sales trend analysis for COGS, what is the sales and what is the gross margin, both graphically as well as with the numbers. Here the Power BI forecast is predicting, like actually the sales have happened only till July, but if the business is going at this pace, at December, what will be the number the business can hit? So automatically it can predict, so that advance in 4-5 months you will be able to take some corrective actions. So this kind of proactive steps you will be able to take with this. Inventory. Procurement analysis automatically helps you to analyze all your procurement related purchase request, whatever the POs, values and items, and you can search for particular items bought across different vendors and analyze what was the price across various periods and various vendors. You can search for some particular vendor to see how much business you have given to them. By cost center, you can analyze. By various statuses of purchase order, you will be able to see instantly. With respect to inventory, what is the inventory closing value every month, and what is my average consumption every month? So you will be able to immediately see, am I holding the right inventory value on a month-on-month basis? So immediately you can try to reduce the inventory, or you can increase the inventory, or whichever the critical items you can have focus only on that. What are your top 10 items by value? So you can plan that. All this will be provided by this inventory insights. The inventory turnover automatically gives you by category and by item. You will be instantly able to see what was the closing balance, opening balance, and how much receipts and issues. Everything instantly you will be able to see. Human resource and payroll. This actually gives you the complete handle on employee demographics, on their headcount, on their retention, turnover, and what is the staff of HR supporting this kind of volume of people, and across various dimensions like departments and nationality, age group. You will be able to instantly get a handle of how many female, how many male, what is the female percentage, on Emiratization, what is the percentage. Exactly, this is what I told, industry specific or geography specific challenges which may not be available in standard reporting tools provided by any principal products. This is where we are trying to more focus on. Now you see the joiners and leavers by month, and how the headcount have been moving over a period of time. Which department has the highest turnover, you'll be able to see instantly. On accrual front, how much is the air ticket accrual, gratuity accrual, how many days, as well as the amount. And across various dimensions, instantly you will be able to see. Another interesting factor that comes here is the employee leave calendar. Even for the future, it is not only the past. If an employee got the leave approved for the future, immediately the department head, they will be able to approve any leave application after verifying the leave calendar. In their department, how many of them are planning leaves at the same time? Instantly, they will get a handle of it, and you will be able to see by department who are all, how many people are going on leave, and what is the total number of leave. how much are sick leave, how much are unpaid, and how much are annual. Everything with one click you will be able to see. And this calendar, yeah, the same calendar you will be able to use it for multiple options. For example, you are doing a resource scheduling for your machines. All those across the various periods, your resources, how it has been scheduled, you can get a handle of it instantly. This is more of a summary of the leave by month, how many different types of leaves are taken, how many employees have taken leave, by department, how many employees and how many leave types they are using. Everything instantly you will be able to see. Actually, the trend actually it is showing by July, there are 107 employees planning to take leave. So this is the peak time where it is a season. So that is the time in department you will be able to control. So that time you can decide whether whom to send for leave, whom not to send. So this helps you to take quick decisions and proactive measures. I think with that, I want to end this, and thanks for your time. Thanks, Steve and Jennifer, for this opportunity.
Okay. With this, thank you, Sundar. I just want 3 slides to finally wrap up. What I would like to bring to your notice is that Microsoft has got an expiry date on the previous modules in terms of support. And it's important for you to know because they will stop giving you security fixes more important than anything else. So 2009 has already expired as of 2018. And whoever's on 2009 is really at risk in terms of extended support on not only the product, but on the hardware and on the operating system and SQL that it's running on. The other 2 are already ended, but they're on extended support to 2021. The only one that has a life till next year is AX 2012 R3. And after which, you will only get security patches. You will get nothing more on the system. So it's important for you to start planning to move away from your legacy systems into D365 on the cloud. And that's why I brought the slide up, so it crystallizes what is the risk you have in terms of your current legacy systems. So what do we offer? We offer you a discounted pricing until the end of this year for you to take on. We just put out a sample of what the offering is. Usually with Microsoft, the list price is $180 per user. The attached licenses is about $30, and the team licenses is about $8. You get a substantial discount if you take on to migrate early. And we've just given you a sample. We will actually sit down with each one of you to understand how you can leverage this along with Microsoft. This is for somebody who doesn't have a legacy system. If you are on a legacy system, but you are on an enhancement plan, the savings are even substantially lower. And you could see what you would have paid, $157. If you were a new customer, you're paying only $95. Instead of paying $30, you would be paying $22. And instead of paying $8, you would be paying $6 per team user. So your savings are substantially higher, in terms of your migration to a digital platform like the D365 on the cloud. Okay. What do we else offer? Besides the licensing, Synergy offers you a substantial discount in terms of training on Power BI and the Power Platform for 3 days for 8 participants. We give you a free report pack of their VAT reporting. You get a 25% discount on your module for HR, payroll, employee self-service, and the report pack. And we do about 3 days of free evaluation on your journey at 0 cost, along with Microsoft for the first 5 customers and then you can apply. This is both Microsoft and Synergy working together quickly to get you. This offer is valid until the end of next month for you to start the journey. You can still buy this along the way anytime between next month to the year after. But to start the journey, we need your commitment, and that's what we are offering. Along with Microsoft, we would take you through what the journey should be, what are the modules you should have, and how do you take it forward. With this, I thank you all for being here this morning, and I leave it open to any question and answers you may have. I always say there are 3 presentations, one which you prepare to give, one which you actually give, and one which you wish you had given.
Jennifer, thank you.
Okay, bye.
Bye.